You know, it just wouldn't be right to start off 2020 without wrapping up one last loose end from 2019, because before 2019 ended, I got to see Cats. And you know what? After something as disappointing as The Rise of Skywalker, I needed a movie so bad that it ended up being hilarious. Now, a lot of critics are throwing things left and right about Cats thinking they know where they're coming from, but the problem is, a lot of them aren't familiar with the source material that this movie's coming from. Not so in my case. As I've stated before, I'm a musical nut. But it's not like people were split about it to begin with when the Broadway version came out, because a lot of people were already aware that Cats was kind of a weird show. But it's the kind of weird that pays off for a stage show. It's a weird show, but it's because it's weird that it's so captivating. But here's the thing, when they dropped the trailers, it was immediately apparent that nobody wanted this movie. Look at those cats. Look at them. What is that? What am I looking at? But see, there was something bugging me a lot more than the visuals, and that was who was directing the movie, Tom Hooper. This is the same man who directed the 2012 version of Les Miserables, as in the guy who thought Russell Crowe would have been a perfect Inspector Javert, and I've gone on record in saying that I don't think this movie is very good. So seeing his name as a directorial credit in the trailer made me immediately realize that this movie was going to be a phallical flounderization, or in layman's terms, a cup cascade. I mean, hell, the man apparently hadn't even finished editing the movie until hours before the premiere even started. It wasn't so much a question of if it was going to be bad, but a matter of how bad. But good God almighty, nothing could prepare me for how bad this actually turned out. And that's mainly because when you're doing a stage show, there's already a higher threshold for the suspension of disbelief. When you're doing a movie, you're presenting it as you envisioned. So an entire cast of dancing catsuit actors on stage will look perfectly fine, but anatomically weird-looking humanoid cats on film is going to look uncanny and disturbing. Some of the cast in this is fine. Jennifer Hudson actually captures the sadness and sorrow of Grisabella really well, and Judi Dench is actually a really good old Deuteronomy too. But that's pretty much about it as far as casting goes. If they're a more elite actor like Ian McKellen or Idris Elba, I just feel more bad for them than anything, but everyone else I'm just either not impressed by or just really annoyed by, and some of the casting is just absolutely wasted too. What an innovative idea to have the heaviest slapstick relegated to the two heaviest actors in the entire cast. How original. And it's going verbatim for the structure of how the Broadway show works, but the thing is, the pacing works better for a Broadway show than a movie, because this movie is really boring up until it finally gets to memories. Yes, the visuals are awful, but they get stale after a while and you end up growing numb to them, mostly. But even once you get past the visuals, even then the design of some of these cats just doesn't work. Yes, Jennifer Hudson is a very good Grisabella, but the problem is her outfit hardly looks grizzled. Sure, the lighting and framing imply differently towards the beginning, but when it's time for her number, her outfit looks nice. Almost music video nice. Especially when you compare it to what Grisabella looked like on the Broadway show. Her fur is matted, dirty, it hasn't been groomed in ages. So when she sings the line, "I was beautiful then" during Memories, it makes sense and we can infer from what we already see. And yes, I'm fully aware that the Broadway show had cats changing out of outfits into different outfits, but again, there's that higher separation of reality. So in the movie, when Jenny Anydots unzips her f***ing fur to reveal another outfit underneath it, it's a tad bit unnerving. So yeah, the movie's kinda but something tells me you knew that already. From the moment it was announced, everybody seemed to know that it was going to be bad, and I think I know what's going on here that not a lot of film critics have been pointing out. Cats just wasn't meant to work as a movie, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Cats is a stylistic show from the bottom up, and that's just the kind of show Andrew Lloyd Webber makes. After all, this is the same guy behind Jesus Christ Superstar and Starlight Express. The man writes weird but what's so endearing about them is that they're style over substance. The style is meant to be captivating on stage, and that doesn't always necessarily work out for movies. Because even when the Broadway version of Cats came out on DVD, even that one got panned by critics too. It's just not a film story, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes art has to be viewed through a very specific lens, and for Cats, it's one of those shows that has to be viewed live on Broadway. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Really, if you want to give Cats a proper shot, it needs to be viewed in its original setting. That's why I recommend, if you want to watch Cats, watch the Broadway performance. However, sound mixing is a bit of an issue with this version because some scenes are quieter than the music, and in other scenes it's way too loud, so you'll constantly have to be flapping back and forth. That's with every version, so don't worry about that. But if you want to experience Cats as it was intended, this is the best way you're gonna get it, because God knows this movie missed the mark by a mile. They did say they were gonna re-edit some of the CG, but I don't know how much that's gonna help, because you can spend 8 more lives trying to fix this movie. You'll just waste all 9 of them, because this is far from repairable. And I'm giving this movie a 2 out of 10.